It's time to laugh, learn, and take your photography to the next level with your favorite cowgirls with cameras, Cara, Kim, and Phyllis.
Welcome to the Cowgirls with Cameras podcast. I'm Kim with Be More Business and Kim Beer Photography.
I'm Cara with Fast Horse Photography.
And I'm Phyllis with Phyllis Burchett Photo. Good afternoon, you two lovely young ladies.
I like being called young with all this gray hair.
I like being called lovely after just coming back from the gym, and this is dried sweat all over my face.
Guys.
Just keep it coming, Phyllis.
All righty then. I can do that.
Oh, good grief. So what have you all been up to?
Well, we all just got back from Trappers.
Well, yeah, I guess we did, didn't we? So I guess that's what we're talking about is our lovely adventures in Colorado.
Well, we got back from Trappers, and Cara and I got back from other adventures, and Kim got back from Powderhorn. So
That's right.
Yeah.
We were on the road.
Fall workshop tour that we seemed to do in September. So, yeah, it was amazing. I love being ensconced in gold in Colorado. I have to tell you, that is like at the top of my list. And I just last night finished up on my edits from Trappers and Powder and went back and watched through all of the images in a slideshow and just loved every minute of all of that pretty color and all of the beautiful skies that we got to photograph this year. We've had 25 has been a beautiful sky year.
It's definitely been the year of the 360 gorgeous skies.
yes,
and
it has.
I have to agree, too, with the fall color, because when we were first driving up to Trappers, I kept saying, I don't know. I think we got here too early. I think we got here too early for the color. But it was like every day that we were there, it got prettier and prettier and prettier. And I feel like it ended up just being right at the peak. It was so gorgeous.
I've been going to Colorado. That's probably, it's what was that, our third year with Trappers?
I think that was our third year Trappers.
And then on top of that, I've been 5 years before that. I went to the Flat Tops every year, and it was the same weekend, the last weekend in September, every year I've ever been, and it's always been dead on for color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Very predictable. Unlike the snow, as I was researching a place for us to do a winter workshop, Cara texts me and says, can they guarantee snow? Like, I don't think anyone can guarantee snow.
I'm in Florida, for crying out loud. We can pretty much guarantee sunshine at some point.
that's the key, at some point. Well, they can guarantee snow at some point. Yeah. You left yourself open on that one.
I'm just saying, give me a couple of days and we could guarantee some sunshine. But can you do that with snow? Apparently not.
No, cannot do that with snow. Cannot.
Well, I just have to, I think we should take a minute just to acknowledge too, like, we had a great group of photographers. So much fun. We had people coming from all over the world, actually, to this event. And God, we had a great group. And then we also, on top of it, like, the models were wonderful. Trappers just gets better and better every year. And we ate really well, of course. And like I said, the models were wonderful. We were really taking really good care of there, and just can't thank everybody enough for that.
Becca and Ellen and Kason, just what a wonder, and the staff, what people. Yes. Couldn't ask for better hostess and hostesses. Yes.
Exactly. Yep. And we got to stay in the Three Little Bears room that we love. The cabin we stay in actually has 4 beds in it, but we use one bed. Well, I don't, but Cara and Phyllis use one bed as like a camera bed.
It's a buffer between us.
Well, and it was kind of used as like cowboy hat storage this year.
Yes, it definitely.
Thank goodness we had that bed for all those hats.
All those cowboy hats we had to shoot while we were there.
In a row. And it's just so funny because we're all in there tucked in our little beds all in a row. And
it is very like, what was that show, Little House on the Prairie? Like, good night, John Boy. Good night, Laura.
Except it's middle-aged women getting up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom.
Just following each other out the door.
Pretty much. Cara, I would just wait. Either I'd be waiting on Cara or she'd be waiting on me.
Yep.
And I discovered I cannot quietly shut that cabin door.
We all discovered that.
The joys of traveling together. The joys.
And then you had a little visitor on your end of the room too, Kim.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's a squirrel. I caught that squirrel. Oh, and we had a whole camp visitor with that fox.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, the one that
fox was amazing.
the one that I never got to see. Yeah,
but all the rest of us have
I know
good photos.
everybody got to see him, but me.
And video. I've seen amazing video of that fox too, like National Geographic level.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Alexis is gorgeous. Oh my goodness. Well, we had a great time. And Kim, I'm jealous that you've got your images done. I'm hustling right now. That's what I've been trying to do today.
That's impressive. Not just strappers, but you got powder horns done too. I don't know why I would expect nothing less of you though. So
I've already even got a couple of videos completely produced. So
excellent.
I've got some more video work I want to do. And I've been diving a little harder into DaVinci Resolve. And I went ahead and used a little bit of the proceeds from retreats and bought the full version of DaVinci Resolve. And
you're all in.
Then using some of the really fancy things that DaVinci Resolve can use. And I'm incredibly impressed. I didn't like Final Cut Pro. I mean, didn't like when Final Cut Pro changed. I really liked Final Cut, and DaVinci, I don't know, for some reason, has me excited about video again.
So you do DaVinci instead of Premiere Pro?
Yes. Yeah. I used Final Cut for many years instead of Premiere, but then Final Cut really changed, and it may have changed back, but I produced most of my videos in the early 2000s in Final Cut. And for some reason, DaVinci feels better to me. No shade on Premiere Pro. It's a really good product, but I like the way DaVinci has things laid out.
Awesome. Can I also, I know I would like to give a shout out to a new sponsor we have too, Greater Than Gatsby.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
That gave us some, we were able to, they supplied us or donated us, or however you want to say it, with a collection for one lucky winner at every one of our upcoming Trappers was our first, and we will be doing that through the next year as well. So I think that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Well, tell them what they got.
What they got?
Yeah, what did they get? Like, what is Greater Than Gatsby, and like, what do they get? What are they selecting from?
Well, they're selecting from either the actions or the presets of their choice, not the whole suite.
Right.
They get one of the collections that's available as an action or a preset.
And Greater Than Gatsby is a company that you have, well, all of us have enjoyed, but you specifically have really, you've done a lot of editing examples with it. Yeah.
I utilize it a lot. I do a lot of stuff in my newsletters.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really basically nothing you can't do in Photoshop without it, but it just, for me, it makes my life simpler and quicker and easier than searching for things that I know I could do in Photoshop.
It's also really inspirational because there's sometimes I'm just like, I don't know what I want to do with this image. It needs something. And it's nice to be able to go through and kind of play and experiment. And it gives you so many good ideas. And it's a really nice starting point sometimes when you're working on images.
I totally agree. Sometimes I'll work on one and go, oh, this looks really good. Here, I think I'm done. And then I'll run an action and I'll go, oh my gosh, that like bumped it up another 10 inches. I can't believe, sometimes I'll think I'm finished and then I'll run an action and go, okay, obviously you could have done more. Yeah, and you did.
I also appreciate how when you go to the Greater Than Gatsby website, they have so many like video tutorials and everything from walking you through how to set up the actions in Photoshop or in Lightroom, all the way through like how to use the actions and what order to use them and how to get, to get the best results. So I'm really excited that they are a new sponsor for Cowgirls with Cameras in our upcoming events.
Me too. Thank you, Greater Than Gatsby.
Yep, that's right.
Yay. All right.
And congratulations, it was Annette, I believe, wasn't it? That won the collection. Yeah. Do we know what she chose?
I do, but I'd have to go back and look at it.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember right off.
So she's made her selection.
Yeah, she made her selection, but I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah.
Yes, and she has already received it. Yes.
Excellent. We should also shout out Deb from our most recent event who walked away with the free 16 by 20 Guild canvas.
Yes.
As well. So who's also one of our sponsors. And that was our last one that we're giving away this year. And that was a good one. I can't wait to see what she prints on it. She definitely sounded like she was gonna print something from Trappers for her home.
Yeah.
So she had like a list of favorite images already that she was trying to decide between. So that's pretty exciting.
Very exciting.
Very exciting.
Can't wait to see what they all of them, all the winners chose for their print.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what one of them chose already.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
I may too, but I've forgotten. So.
Excellent.
All right.
And
so what do we
you guys went on it. Well, you all went on a separate adventure too. You went on quite the adventure and I went to the Powderhorn. So let's just really quickly, because we're going to dive into our topic here momentarily. But what I've heard interesting fun on your drive to where you all went.
We had a lot of adventure. And Phyllis, do you want to talk about what we did after with Paula?
Sure. I was trying to figure out what Kim was talking about, interesting drive. So I don't, I'm trying to figure out. You.
Oh, just our adventure going up the mountain.
Okay. Oh, the mountain. Yeah. Well, you
up to the cow camp.
You might want to talk about the part you drove. That was actually more interesting to me than the part I drove. Yes, we went to Carbondale to meet up with Paula Cooper, and she and her boyfriend are staying up there. Staying up at a very remote cow camp where it's the ranch they work for, along with two other ranches, have the lease with the Forest Service up there, so they run cattle on this lease. And so the cabin that they stay in is it's really a super cute little cabin. Just the whole camp is really cute. There's a real old barn there with a little corral, and they've got about 15 head of horses up there that I guess they switch in and out to use. But the cabin, it was kind of fun because the first night we went up and Cara had the luxury. Paula is so cute. She had all these hundreds of ideas what she wanted to do. Of course, we had no time to get all those done, but she kept talking about this, that, and the other. And we were like, we didn't know because we were just having to follow her lead. So she throws Cara and I in the 4-wheel drive pickup, and Cara's driving, and we follow her on her horse and 2 dogs up the mountain, literally up the mountain to the.
It was a way. It was not a road.
It was definitely what a Kyle's.
It was a Kyle, yes.
And I'm like trying to video, and I'm videoing Cara, and
we were laughing a lot.
We were laughing a lot, and it was one of those things where you don't put your hands out the windows because they might get taken off by a tree that almost took off mirrors, and but when you got up there, it was so worth the view. Oh my gosh, talk about 360 view. Oh
yeah, we went to the top of the mountain.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was so, and then the cows are up there, and I don't know, it was really awe-inspiring. It was so beautiful. And yeah, and then we got back, and Cara and I think, gosh, it's so late. We really should just go on back to the hotel, and didn't realize that her boyfriend had cooked dinner for us. So, and they have no power. They're running off of propane in the.
Yeah, so we ate by candlelight.
Yeah,
basically.
we ate by candlelight. He grilled some steaks and
pigs in a blanket.
Yeah. Oh, that wasn't pigs in a blanket.
What was it? Oh, jalapeno poppers?
Yeah,
what was it?
It was jalapeno poppers.
It was like a jalapeno with cream cheese and bacon wrapped around it.
Yeah,
is that a jalapeno? I never had one before. I don't even.
Jalapeno popper. That is not a pigs in a blanket.
Is that like a cowboy camp food?
Yeah, I mean, I've been to 3 different brandings, and they always serve them. Of course, we weren't at a branding, but yeah. So
I learned something new.
Difference between a pig and a blanket now.
Oh, I know. Yep. I know that.
Well, I guess it would be more like the pig was the blanket because it was the bacon
wrapped
wrapped
up in the
Yeah. So jalapeno in a blanket is what it probably was.
So we get back, we're like taking my little rental car and crossing creeks in it and doing all kinds of fun stuff. And we get back and of course
the rental car company.
Paula had told us, no, y'all need to be back up here at 6 a.m. And Cara and I are both going, I don't think so. There's not going to be any light. But
As
anyway,
experts of the sun
yes, we do it
and early morning light.
we do as we're told and get there at 6 a.m. And I'll be darned if they didn't have breakfast ready for us.
They did.
Yeah.
So we ate by candlelight once
again. Yep. And we kind of rushed to get things done before they headed back out to meet their cohorts in crime on the mountain to gather cows. So it was fun. Yeah.
It was a good time. It was good stories, good time, really nice people. And Paula is so bubbly and cute and just really fun.
And from there, we went south, and a big shout out to Susan Humphreys, who was a client that came to Trappers last year. And she took us on a tour of the San Juan Mountains. So that was pretty cool, too.
That was gorgeous.
Yep.
And meanwhile, I was enjoying the 5-star luxury of the Powderhorn with Korean shepherds and some lovely ladies that had joined us there, and eating glorious meals and sleeping in probably the most comfortable bed that
I know, with your giant bathtub that you have up there.
And my giant bathtub and my overwhelmingly large bathroom, and just an amazing, amazing place.
Well,
And that's always such a treat after Trappers. But next year, I won't have it in the fall because we're moving that workshop up to June. So we will be there in the spring wildflowers at the Powderhorn instead of fall colors. So yeah, but it was lovely. It's always lovely going back to the Powderhorn. I've been going there since 2009. And then we've officially been doing the workshop there since 2012. So it's pretty amazing. And I have to love that place because it's where I met the two of you.
That's right.
So
I think we all love that place.
It's a very special place.
We were having a little bit of FOMO.
A little bit of FOMO.
But I also wouldn't trade the experience we had either. So
Yeah,
very fun. Nice. Well, I would have loved going up the mountain in a 4-wheel drive truck.
That was fun.
So not to change the subject, but to change the subject to something that's a little bit different and not nearly maybe as fun, at least on the surface, as starting out. Our topic for today is learning from your mistakes. So I don't think any things we've talked about up to this point have been a mistake in anybody's opinion, but I do think that there are a lot of times in business and in photography that we make mistakes. And we all three want to share a little bit about some of the things that we've done that we feel were mistakes, and about how maybe that sharing can stop you from getting into a pitfall somewhere. So
well, and it has a mindset spin on it too. Like this whole month is about like mindset. And I looked at this from the perspective of like how this big mistake that I made affected the way that like my brain works moving forward in my business. And it really did a number on me in terms of like, you know, like how I did my business the rest of the way and how I looked at myself as a professional. So yeah, this is a good topic.
So why don't you want to kick us off, Cara?
Sure. So I'm going to talk about a mistake that I think I've mentioned on here before, but it's been a while. I'm going to talk about the time that I completely blew a full day's worth of Christmas mini sessions. So it was very traumatic in my life. You guys maybe remember because I was pretty traumatized by it. And yeah, it was a pretty awful experience, but I also got some good things out of it. So in hindsight, I got good things out of it.
So we're not talking about one client. We're talking about multiple clients.
Oh, a full day's worth of clients. Yeah, I had a whole lineup. And I'm not like a mini session person. So if I'm doing a mini session, like it's pretty organized and I've got a lineup and you know, I don't do them very often. And I remember after this, I was like, I'm never doing another mini session again. Like I was so mad. But this was a day when I had a full lineup day of people with their horses. And, you know, if you photograph horses, especially like in the portrait world, like, you know, that people put a lot of time and energy into cleaning their horses up, prepping them for the day, planning out their outfits. It's a whole thing. And if you're adding to that holiday sessions, a lot of times they're dragging along their adult children, their family members, their young children, their elderly family members, and
pets.
Their pets. Yes, there were definitely pets involved.
Unwilling participants in this whole adventure.
Yeah. So on top of it all, there's that added pressure already. So here's what happened. I had to send out some of my camera gear for repair or for cleaning and repair. And I didn't get them back in time for this particular day. So I had planned for that, and I had rented a lens that I'm very comfortable using, the same lens that I normally use. The lens came in and I didn't do any prep for it. I just stuck it on my camera and I went to my shoot. Like, it was kind of a quick turnaround. And I shot pretty much all day on that camera with that lens all day. And I don't really, still to this day, know. I've gone back and forth with the company, but there was something wrong with the camera lens that day. And every image came out beyond repair. Like, they were super blurry. There was a weird like center blurry spot. And then so where the focus was really blurry. And then the exterior areas were sometimes somewhat sharp, but also kind of fractured. It was really weird. They were beyond repair. And I have to say, there's nothing, I don't know if you guys have experienced this before, but when you sit down at your computer and you're backing up your images and you're starting to flip through and you're like, what is happening? Why are all my images soft? And what is happening? Is it just that they're buffering and still loading? I mean, you're like starting to have like the heartbeat pick up and you're getting hot and breaking into a little forehead sweat. That was me. Like, it was not good. And I sat on them for about 24 hours, looking at them, trying to determine, was there another version somewhere on a backup card? Like, was there any other option? And basically what it came down to is that all of the sessions that I shot that day were trash. Nothing was salvageable. A full day's work, all that prep with my clients was trashed. So as someone who tends to be super type A about my sessions, I'm very organized. I have a checklist. I make sure I go through a packing list before I head out the door. I have always done things in a way that I feel like was super organized so that I wouldn't make a mistake, right? This was something that I made a mistake, and it was a devastating one. It wasn't something like one session was messed up. All the sessions were messed up. So I had to sit with that, and I talked to people that I respect in the field, and I'm like, what should I do? And I went back and forth on it. And honestly, what I ended up doing is I had to make phone calls to every single person and tell them that their images were trash and I'm so sorry and I messed up and it was a mistake on my end. And I had to give them their options. And for me, those options were, I can reshoot for you. I can refund you. That's it. That's what we got. And I will bend over backwards to do that for you. And some people, I gave them full sessions instead of mini sessions for free. And some people never wanted to work with me again. And other people, I mean, they were justifiably upset, that they had gone through all that work. And other people respected the fact that I contacted them and was honest with them. And they ended up booking me later for full senior sessions for their children and that sort of thing. So it kind of went both ways. So I tell that story and I think about it in terms of like our mindset topic today, to talk about like, these are the things I feel like I learned from that. The first one was, for me, professionalism isn't always about being perfect. So there was this idea in my mind that if I check all the boxes, that nothing's going to go wrong, right? Reality is that even when you do everything in your mind right, sometimes things still are going to implode on you. And that's something I just have to live with. Professionalism has less to do with preventing every mistake and more to do with like owning it and being prepared that when it happens. So that was a big thing that I learned, is that I can survive what feels like a tragedy to me in my business, that I can survive it, even if my pride was wounded and it was a real challenge. The second thing that I was thinking about with this had a lot to do with shame and guilt. And my first point, which is why I sat on it for 24 hours, is I was spiraling and I was hiding and I was avoiding. And I was fighting with this idea that this mistake meant that I was a failure, that I was a fraud. And honestly, there were moments where I was going to close my business. Like I was like, I have failed these people in a way that I've never failed anyone in my business before. And that means I shouldn't be doing this. Right. Like that's how deep I went into this shame moment. So, and you know, I think for me, I had to pull myself out of that shame and I had to choose responsibility and I had to choose transparency. And thank goodness I did that because I still have a business today. The third thing that I think about was that, you know, recovery can build trust, sometimes even more than like being perfect can. And that was kind of a mindset shift for me. Like my clients didn't hate me. They were disappointed, justifiably so. But I think they also, some of them respected my honesty in that moment. And that for some of my clients, you know, I think it helped build the relationship even stronger because even though I let them down, I made up for it in like any other way that I possibly could. And that kind of owning that was the professional option that I had to take right there. So my credibility didn't completely disappear. It actually, hopefully, to some people grew because I didn't try to cover it up. I didn't try to blame it on something else. I just took ownership of it. And then the last thing that I want to add here in terms of mindset that I feel like I got from it was that having a failure like that made my system better. So it led me to make some changes in the way that I process like how I'm going to do work. So if I have to order gear again, like what is my workflow going to look like? Maybe I order it in advance and I practice with it a little bit and I look at the images on my computer and I make sure that they're okay and that I'm ready for it, for example. So kind of updated my workflow a little bit and you know, just to help make that not happen again. Like that's hopefully never happen again. So I think that it made my system a little bit better. So I think the big thing that I would like to just kind of impart to anyone that's listening is that as business owners, and a lot of us are solopreneurs, like we're going to make mistakes and they can be really scary and you can feel shame and you can want to throw in the towel and just quit. But I think if we recognize that we are going to mess up, but if we can take ownership for it and be honest, a lot of times our clients will still support us in the end. So yeah, that's my mistake.
That is a heartbreaking mistake. And I will tell you, you keyed in on my biggest fear when I shot film and did weddings, because you can't repeat a wedding. Like I swear, the reason I did not become a wedding photographer is because it literally gave me ulcers worrying about the film. Now, I was a little better when I got into digital so I could look at the back, but I relentlessly look at the back of my camera. But if you have a broken lens.
So this is the sad thing. I was looking at the back of my camera and checking, but my vision, my short-term vision has gotten so bad. And I was in this place where I was like, I'm not wearing glasses.
You were in denial.
So probably if I just had been wearing my glasses, I probably would have caught it. That's the saddest part.
Yeah, I've been blind since I was little. So
there's some humility there too, I suppose.
I still do that when I leave a paid shoot, though. I'm always paranoid that, well, what if they're not? Oh, well, please tell me they're in focus. Please tell me they're all there. Please tell me nothing's happened between the time I left the shoot and got home to put them on the computer. I mean, I think that's just something we all, you know, and that unfortunately you had the dreaded incident where it did happen. So it's just, we all have it. I mean, it's, you know.
Well, and it does happen. And coming back from it is the important piece. I've had hard drives fail and tried to have drive savers. I have lost entire discs.
I just assumed that was going to be the mistake you talked about today.
No, because that wasn't, I don't take that as a mistake. maybe it was a little bit of a one, but I don't take it as a mistake.
Well, it wasn't. Yeah, it's just right. You call it poop. That poop happens. Yeah.
That's just part of being in business. The other thing that happened to me very similar to that is at a horse show, I had a card fail. Between the time I shot the images and the time that it got downloaded, it
that's so
completely
sad.
got corrupt, and I lost an entire class from the horse show. You can't repeat that. You can't say, oh, everybody's got to come back in and show again. So you have to learn as a business owner how to navigate those things. And it's resilience. It truly is. And in all honesty, that's just part of being a business owner. And don't throw in the towel just because there's been a little bit of an obstacle put up in your path. You can recover. Cara's proof of that. I'm proof of that. I did many horse shows after card failure, and I'm still going after other things. And I've made a lot of boneheaded mistakes. We won't even get into the audio problems I have had. I have done entire videos of training sessions for clinicians where the audio was completely absent. And I'm like, well, yep, gonna have to do that over again. So yeah, audio is the bane of my existence in video. So
I don't think it's just yours. It's the girl that we used to work with that did videos for us. It was the same.
Audio just problematic all the way around. Even if you think you get it right on location, you'll get back and there will be some damn buzz in the thing. Thankfully, AI has made that a lot easier. But
we know about buzzing here, don't we?
Yes, and waterfalls. Okay. So now that everybody had that piece of trivia. So I'll talk about mine next, Phyllis, if you don't mind. Mine is about people pleasing. And I'm going to say this is a mistake that I started my business with. So I want people to like me. At the bottom of my heart, I really want people to like me. I need for people to like me. I have
sounds familiar.
One of the, that whole I'm a bitch and I don't care if you like me or not. This is what you get. This is what you get. No, I'm like, please like me. And before I did my personal work, it was worse. It was much, much worse. A lot of my value, my self-value, my happiness, a lot of things hinged on people liking me. And the mistake that I made with that is that I would say yes to things I shouldn't have said yes to. And I'm going to say that mistake furthered my career because I said yes to projects I probably should not have said yes to.
You were kind of forced to figure it out.
I was forced to figure it out. But the place that I made the mistake in saying yes was when people pushed me into a corner with unrealistic expectations. And many times that had to do with the delivery of a product. And I can tell you, probably if you went back and asked my clients from 20 years ago what their biggest complaint about me was, it would be, she didn't have it done when she said she was going to have it done. Well, here's the trap door I fell through. So first of all, I want to keep you happy. And I also know I have competitors out there who are really fast at things. And I want to know how I got fast at editing. This is probably how. I had to keep up with, right? And people do have expectations, especially in commercial photographies. Businesses are not always, and traditionally have never been, really good at giving a lot of lead time for deadlines to get an ad done. It's usually we need to run an ad. Well, when do you need to run that ad? Well, we need it into the printer next week. Okay, so we have to do an entire photo shoot. I've got to get through all the artistic creativity. And I got to do it really, really fast, and I've got to do it really well. Well, of course I want to do that. But the problem is, well, as my mother used to say, you have to sacrifice something for speed. And sometimes what got sacrificed is my creativity or my creative vision because I can't produce what I needed to produce in the timeline that needed to be produced. And I found, especially in the beginning of my career, people would push me into that. I would tell them the truth. I would say, I need 14 days. I'd need 2 weeks to turn around these edits or 3 weeks to turn around these edits. And it'd be, well, can you do it faster? Can you do it faster? Can you do it faster? I really need them next week. Boy, if you could get them done next week, that would be really helpful. Well, of course I want to be loved. and you'll love me if I get your edits done, right? So then I would promise to do things that were realistically not as possible as they should be. And being the temperament that I am, I always think time is different than it really is. And another big relief in my life was figuring out that my perception of time is not the same as other people's perception of time. And I have to work on their schedule, not mine. So, and I have to make sure mine gets blended in with theirs and set those expectations. So, part of the mistake that I made was allowing my clients to push past the boundaries and push me into places that I shouldn't have allowed them to push me. And the lesson that I learned from this is that when my clients are happiest when I set those clear boundaries, even if it's not the boundary that they wanted, if it's not the outcome that they wanted, if I say it's going to take me 2 weeks to edit all of your commercial images and have them ready, it's going to take me 2 weeks to edit them. And it's my job as a business owner to set that expectations from day one with you as a business owner to say, if you have an ad campaign that needs to be done, we need to have X number of days tarmac to get it done. Otherwise, I can't do it. And to not say yes to those jobs where the timeline was shorter than that tarmac. And I see this still, I will catch myself on a regular basis telling people I can do things that, and then getting pushed into their expectation versus my reality. And so I try to hold the line. I'm much better than I used to be about that. I will not say that I am perfect. I am definitely a work in progress where this is.
I feel like I'm checking you on that sometimes.
You are.
Like, is this really realistic?
Yeah. I am fast. I have learned
You are.
to be incredibly fast in editing and creation, and I've learned how to manipulate my creativity to be very on demand. But there's a toll that gets paid for that. And it's not the client's toll that is taken, it's mine. And even when I'm able to complete those jobs in the timeline that they would like, it does take a toll on me personally. And that's another big recognition that I had to go through. After all, if I burn out and lose all of my creativity, nobody wins. Me, clients, nobody. If I can do it on the terms and the boundaries that I need to clearly set, then that means that I stay mentally healthy. And for a lot of my business, I was not mentally healthy. In the early 2000s, I was a anxiety-ridden ulcer machine. And I don't want to be that anymore. I like to be chill, and it takes a lot to knock me off my balance these days. And I'm proud of that. Not to say you can't do it. You can, but I prefer to stay as balanced as I possibly.
I think Phyllis and I rely on that.
My ability to stay balanced.
Yep.
So, not to say you can't do it, but
Yeah,
takes
because
a little bit more.
Because I kind of think you're the only one that is totally balanced out of the three of us. So
Not totally. No, totally.
it seems that way a lot of times, though. I don't know.
Well, yes, and that goes.
I mean, that's a compliment, though, Kim. I'm not.
Yes,
That's
it
a
is.
compliment. Yeah.
It is. And truthfully, the whole thing, and I've told this to you guys before, it's about setting expectations with people, right?
Yep.
A lot of what we do, we have people come to Cowgirls with Cameras events that don't have any expectations about what a workshop should be. They don't.
Or they've been to other events.
Yes, and they've been to other events. And this is why we take the time, and I know it seems corny to some people, to sit in a circle and create agreements. But part of what I've learned in my process of setting expectations that can keep everybody happy is that we all have to set those things together. And so that's why we read agreements. They're there so that we all have the same expectation, because that means that we all will have a good experience. And at the end of the day, you will be happy, and hopefully you'll like me along with it.
Yep.
I think
It's a good one.
that's something that Well, I think we all did, but I know I did when I first starting out because I like doing this so much that I wanted everybody that had the privilege to get to do it for to like me, obviously. And, it was a long time before I realized that, hey, not everybody's going to be my client. And that's okay. It's not a big deal. There's plenty enough to go around there for everybody, and not everybody, you don't have to make everybody happy. I mean, well, I want to make the people I do work with happy, obviously, but yeah, but I think for me, trying to make everybody happy actually led me into jobs like you said that I probably wouldn't have done otherwise, that I think helped me learn what I did want to do, so it was a good thing. So,
It's a good thing to occasionally get pushed out of your comfort zone, but there's a difference between that and letting people walk all over you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And there are times in my career where I've let people walk all over me and been like, thank you, I'll have another, kind of and that does not create a happy business owner. That creates a stressed out, anxiety ridden business owner because you start to really get concerned. And I will also add this to this conversation because I do think it gets wrapped up in it. Anytime you're an artist, your art is a representation of you. And so when people judge it or don't like it, it can feel very, very personal. And in typical means most people don't intend it that way. I won't say not all of them, but most of them do not intend it that way, but it can get taken that way really easily. And so again, setting expectations and setting your own expectations and not letting your personal value get wound up with the value of the images that you take.
Yep. That's a good one.
Yep. Very good.
All right, Phyllis. Let's hear about your big mistake.
Phyllis doesn't make mistakes.
I'm waiting patiently. I can't wait to hear what it is.
Y'all both had good ones, so I make a lot of mistakes. I just don't let anybody know. Well, I think my biggest mistake early on was basically kind of working without a net. So that's why I say my lesson learned was to protect your work with clear agreements. Because, and I don't think I've ever even told y'all about this one because it's like way back. And this was a horse show customer that I did a shoot for. And this person knows who they are. They're listening.
We're all about to know what you did, listener.
It really wasn't anything I did, actually. It was something I didn't do that they did. But anyway, it's in the notes, so if you haven't read it. Anyway. But I was just starting out my photography business. I had a client that booked me for a shoot, and we did the shoot. Everything went great. The session was really a great session. Everything went smoothly. The client was thrilled. And I was like, oh, I nailed that one. I got everything right on that one. I was so proud of myself. Back then, of course, I didn't do like I learned to do later on. I delivered my images through Dropbox, which meant the client essentially had access to the full gallery to download, print, share, however they wanted to. I thought that's the way you did it back then. This has been a long time ago. What I didn't realize was how crucial it was to set clear boundaries around image usage. I hadn't really learned anything about how important having a detailed written contract was and how that spelled out exactly what clients could and couldn't do with the photos. So long story short, not long after I had delivered the images to them, actually was a little bit of time, maybe about 3 or 4 months, I guess. I found out that the client had licensed some of my images to a product, and I didn't find out when they did it. I found out after the fact that they had done it sometime after that to a product company. And they even took one and entered into a photo contest and won the photo contest.
Oh my goodness.
They did all this without my knowledge or any credit to me as the photographer. And I tell you what, even now it's kind of a little bit of a gut punch to say the least. But it was by the time I learned of what they had done, it was too late to. I don't know that I could have done something about it, I guess, but it would have been more sometimes things are just better left alone.
As Kim would say, you just bless and release and move on.
Bless and release. And just say, okay, that was a huge
Lesson learned.
So looking back on that, obviously the experience taught me a really valuable lesson that you should always protect your work, a well-written contract. And of course, we've already talked about contracts on this podcast, that it really isn't about mistrust, because it's funny how I always thought that, well, if I give them a contract, that means I don't really trust them, or they don't, you know what I'm saying? Well, that's not what it's about. It's really about clarity. It's actually about good client relations. It helps you set expectation. It defines your image rights, and it makes sure everyone knows how the photos can be used. I learned not to just have a contract, but that it's also up to me to make sure the client understands what they are agreeing to. So don't just set the contract under their nose and have them sign it. Go through it with them and make sure they understand what it's all about. Of course, if I could go back, I do things differently now, but have a contract for every session, no matter how simple you think or friendly the job may seem, which kind of makes me think about one we just did recently that I did not have a contract for. Cara. But anyway, also include clear terms on the image use, such as personal use versus commercial licensing, and educate your clients about copyright. So some people just really don't know they don't understand it. They don't realize that photographers have ownership of the images and that they can't do anything they want to with them. So, and that's up to you to teach them or to educate your client. It was really hard for me to learn, but like you said, it was an experience that really shaped how I do or how I run my business today. And that every client relationship starts with clear communication and clarity, and ends with mutual respect that way on both parts. So that was mine. It wasn't terrible. It was more embarrassing really than anything that I had.
But it's
something stupid.
That is something I think that like every photographer can relate to. Yeah. Every single one of us can relate to that feeling of like, it's really hard to like be professional and say, I need you to sign this contract and I need to go over these details with you. Cause that can be really hard, especially if you're like not a natural business person. Like you're coming to this as someone who's maybe worked somewhere else and you weren't responsible for all of that. Like I remember having to like get comfortable with kind of like setting the boundaries, and that takes practice.
But that's crazy because the whole time I was in the training business or the breeding business, we had contracts for everything. We had a boarding contract, training contract. We had a breeding, it was, so I don't know why.
Art makes it different.
Yeah.
And it feels different when you're an artist too.
You're right. Yeah. Art makes it different. Yeah. That is a good point, Kim.
It's a different personal perspective, but
well, and I think a lot of artists are fighting tooth and nail to like take themselves seriously, but also have other people take them seriously.
Well, yeah, and you think that, if I make them sign this, they're going to find something they don't like and they're just going to go somewhere else. Well,
Yeah.
Bless and release.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know that. I know that now.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a lot of our cultural implications. It's a lot of what our parents left us with. It's the art teacher in college that told us that, we weren't good enough. It's all of those things. And it gets wrapped up in not wanting to be pushy to people. It's a whole lot of a big tangled mess that is a business owner and an artist that we have to work through. And I hope that by sharing these stories in this podcast that people understand it's not just you. It happens to everybody, and that your work has value and you have value, and showing up as authentically as you can, and then taking mistakes not as something that you hold on to and mull over and let you, kind of make you sink down in your chair. Instead, go, I learned from that. And failure is not failure. You fail your way forward. You learn what not to do and do something different.
Yeah.
And if you love the acronym, FAIL means first attempt in learning. So that's the truth of this. Mistakes, just don't hold on to them. Let them go.
Yeah.
Bless and release that mistake, change what needs to be done so you don't experience it again, and get back in there. I think that's the bottom line. And I think was truth run through all three of our stories today.
Awesome. Well, I hope there's folks sitting at home that have not learned these lessons already the hard way and can maybe think a little bit about what they've got coming up and apply some of these lessons and that we have learned the hard way to what they're doing out there every day. And if you aren't already following us online, check us out. We have social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You can also find us online at cowgirlswithcameras.com. We do have some of our 2026 events listed, and there is still room for you to get in and join us somewhere out there in the world today. Last but not least, we also have our private online equine photographers community, which you can learn more about at cowgirlswithcameras.community.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Cowgirls with Cameras. Don't let the laughter and learning stop here. Join our community on social media and be sure to visit our website for more opportunities to fulfill your photography goals. Head to cowgirlswithcameras.com. That's cowgirlswithcameras.com. See you next time.